Look, I'm unstoppable. Look, I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with the showstopper. So hot, you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff, then I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit him right in the chest. It be looking like magic, better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone. I'm bad to the bone, eating up these pig skins like they chicharrones. And you a douche cabron. Mira, mira at the mirror on the wall. I'm the greatest of them all. They gon' put me in the hall. Your name is only written in a bathroom stall. Quit your stalling and make a play. My drive too long. Pop the clutch. I don't pump the brake.
And welcome to the Texans Fan Battle Podcast. I'm one of your amazing duos, Matthew Briggs, and always with me, I got my A1 since day one. Crenshaw, say what's up to the folks.
What's the deal? What's the deal?
And as y'all, if you follow us on Twitter and any social media, you know that we added a new team member. So instead of the amazing duo, it is the amazing trio. I'd like to introduce you, V. If you're Twitter Spaces, you know him very well. Does a great job on the Twitter Spaces. V, say what's up to the guys.
What's going on, guys?
And today we got a special guest with us, Texan content creator, some good stuff. If you haven't checked him out on YouTube, I encourage you to do it. I got Coach Dante with me. What's going on, Coach?
Hey, what's going on, man? Nice to meet all of you. I believe I met V in the Twitter space as well. So nice to meet all you guys, man. I'm ready to talk some ball with you guys.
Cool.
Nice to meet you.
So,
Most definitely, you know, it's 8 sounds since day one, you know, right? So before we talk about the Texans, we got some breaking news. Again, if you watch me and Crenshaw, you know we hate talking about this. It's like beating a dead horse. Like it's to the ground. They're already pulled up daisies by now. But it's news. So of course, Deshaun Watson, former judge Sue Robinson, came out with a verdict, and she said 6 days. 6 games. And then
6 days.
Yeah, 6 days. That's quick. 6 games. Well, of course, Goodell and the rest of the NFL Commission Council don't like that. They appealed it today and seeking a 1-year suspension. I think that's it. No fine, correct?
Yes, so far.
I thought I saw a fine, $10 million.
So that is what they wanted, the negotiation.
Oh, yeah, previous. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
What they were trying to do is they were trying to negotiate to a 12-game suspension with an $8 to $10 million fine. That's what was offered to Watson and the NFLPA. They rejected that. So now that Sue gave with the 6 games, I think it was kind of obvious even Watson's camp knew that Goodell was going to appeal it, or, functionality speaking, someone else appeals it, but in all reality, he appeals it. And when that happens now, we could be looking at a full season and an $8 to $10 million fine, if not more. So, what happens after he decides that is going to be a completely different story. Will they go to federal court and try to fight this in civil court? We'll see. I don't necessarily know if you guys want to go down that road, but the whole point is we still don't know when this is going to end. This could keep going for another 2-3 months from now. This is unfortunately not the end. So we could be into the season and still having this legal battle going on.
Coach, what about you? What do you say?
I feel like, man, it's a little slap on the wrist to Deshaun Watson a little bit. But again, it works in Cleveland's favor that he's going to only miss 6 games because, man, just imagine that team can go 4-2 or just 500 throughout those 6 games. Deshaun Watson, as good as he is, with a full training camp already, and he still can be practicing during those 6 games. But the only thing about it, he just can't play the games, but he can still be eligible to practice. Just think about what the talent he can bring to Cleveland, and You think he made our receivers better, and we had practice squad receivers that last year that he played with. Outside of Brandon Cooks, we kind of had no other receiver to go to besides him. But think about what he can do with those receivers in Cleveland: Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, that running game, Nick Chubb, and he provides so much spark for that offense. So again, kind of a little slap on the wrist. But if you're a Cleveland fan, if you're a Cleveland organization, you love that 6 games suspension, and you got a quarterback in Jacoby Brissett who can hold the fort down until he gets back.
Well, you said practice squad receivers, sir. That's Walmart receivers.
Yeah. Definitely 1,000% agree. 1,000% agree.
That's what Avery said. So, but I don't know, man. They barely. I don't think they broke. They went 8-9 last year, right?
Yeah.
With Baker, and I think Baker is 3 times a better quarterback than Brissett is. But that's my opinion. I mean, I see them going 1-5 without Deshaun, and not even if Deshaun does come back, he's missed a whole year and a half. So who can say he's he's going to be game ready? Game practices are 2 different things. As a coach, you know that, So I still see them going 8-9 this year, to tell you the truth. But I just got some breaking news. Per Adam Schefter, Watson's suspension expected to be at least 12 games. NFL and NFLPA do not want Watson in Houston, which the suspension will make him just miss the game.
Well, no, because the 13 game, it'll be against us, right?
The 13 game will actually be against us.
But bye week don't count as a suspension.
The bye week, right? And then basically they don't want him to play us at home.
Oh, okay. So the bye week don't count as a game. So our game count as a game. So he's gonna miss that game. Yeah.
Correct. That's what they're trying to do, because you got to imagine. I mean, I was going to plan to have banners up, so you got to imagine banners up saying all stuff of crazy stuff. There's a bunch of people that I'm going with the game with, and we all already had planned out what we were going to do. So I can imagine he doesn't want that on TV.
Okay, so what they're going to do next year, because we play them again next year at home.
Well, I think at that point there's a lot of time that's passed from a public perspective, where they kind of think, just like, we can talk about anyone, like, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt. Do we talk about that? Do we talk about Jameis Winston? No, we don't ever bring that up because enough time has passed, and it obviously wasn't as egregious as Deshaun Watson's, but
plus,
still.
They're probably hoping that the civil lawsuits are settled and over with by then.
Right.
Hopefully.
And so at this point, there's 1 civil suit still remaining. Now, of course, there could be 6 other suits filed, according to BuzzFeed. That could happen at any time. So that's something else.
I mean, if you want to get technical, there's 36 more that could come out because there were 66 in total. But if that happens, I highly doubt it. But yes, you're
right. I'm just going by BuzzFeed said that there are 6 women that want to file. That's why the Houston Texans settled with 30 women. Even though there was 24 civil cases, the other 6 were about to file. They put pause on that. I just want to go back to the whole Jacoby Brissett thing. So I do not think very highly of Jacoby Brissett. I think that at most he can have a 2-4. If it was just 6 games, right? He can have a 2-4 record, and that's being generous. And it's because of how easy their first 6 games actually are. Their only hard game within that first 6 are the Steelers. Other than that, believe it or not, I mean, all the other games are pretty easy.
What about the Panthers?
I think the Panthers. I think the Panthers can actually beat them. I think they can beat the Jets. I think Cleveland can actually beat the Jets. I think they can beat the Patriots. But again, I think also the Patriots can beat them because you never want to bet against Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is going to always have that team ready to come out there and play football. Now, to me, man, like I say, the way I see Jacoby Brissett, he just really ain't never got that opportunity to show what type of quarterback he can be. But right now, like I say, since we know Deshaun Watson's going to miss those 12 games. My narrative changed on them at this point right now. Deshaun Watson, that's how a difference Deshaun Watson can make when he's on your team right there. So right now, my narrative might have changed on them so far. So again, man, They do got good receivers, but again, like I said, if you don't have a quarterback that can get them guys the football in the open field in space, and then that's going to change everything. Regardless if you got that running game, you can't always live by the running game. Sometimes you're going to have to drop back in that pocket and throw it when it matters the most. And yeah, man, I definitely agree with you. But I also think Jacoby Brissett do need a chance to show himself. But he's a backup quarterback. No, nothing more, nothing less. He's a backup.
Yeah, it's a backup.
So real quick before we move on, I'll start with you, Crenshaw. What is your 12-game prediction for the Browns?
12-game prediction. Like I say, first 6 games is pretty easy, but after that it gets pretty tough. I like the fact that he's playing the teams that they thought that was going to get him. So those guys going to be extra motivated right there. So I can see them in those 12 games, 4-8.
Okay. B, what about you? What you got?
So if Watson comes back after 6, I think that obviously that changes quite a bit. If it's just Brissett, let's just say Brissett 12 games for now.
Yeah, Brissett.
If it's Brissett in 12 games, yeah, I'm going to say generously he's winning 4. And the reason, again, I have to say that is he can't pass. Like, the bottom line is the dude can't pass. Now, he's got wheels on him. I'm not going to take anything away. But we saw him last year. We saw what happened in Miami. And the dude, when he tries to pass, just makes bad decision, and it goes up to an INT. And, like Coach was saying before, you can't rely on just that run game. And the thing is, after that 6th game, it gets harder. Ravens and so forth. So after that 7th game, that schedule does not get easy for a really long time. So that first 6, honestly, they got lucky with that. If he has that 6-game suspension and whatever we're talking about doesn't actually happen, then it's a different story.
Right, so what do you got as a prediction for the 12 games?
So if I'm saying if Deshaun Watson's not there and it's just Jacoby Brissett, they're 4 games. They're winning 4 games.
4 games. Okay. All right. Coach, what about you?
I got about 4 and 8 because, like I say, I think they have a chance to beat Carolina, but I think that's a revenge game from Baker Mayfield right there for them booting him out of town for him basically not knowing that they were going to go after Deshaun Watson. That's just how desperation Cleveland was to getting the quarterback and saying Baker Mayfield just not the guy, just can't get us there. And like I say, that's a slap in the face of Baker Mayfield. So he's going to come out. He's going to come out ready. He's going to come out firing on all cylinders, looking to humiliate him. So I got the Panthers winning that one. I think they can beat the Jets. I think they're going to beat I got to win it against the Jets. Steelers, that's a loss. Falcons, that's a win. The Falcons may be the worst, probably one of the worst teams in football coming out of this year. Chargers, that's a loss. They're 2-3 at this point. Patriots, toss up, but I'm gonna take the Patriots. Right now, they're 2-4. Ravens lost 2-5. Bengals lost 2-6. Dolphins 2-7. The Bills 2-8. Tampa Bay, you got 2-9.
That's 2-9.
I'm giving them 2 wins. 2-9. I think they'd be 2-9 because outside of the Jets game, outside of the Falcons game, that's when the schedule gets tough right there. Outside of that Falcon game, that's when that schedule gets harder and harder and harder. So I got 2-9.
And to be honest, like last year, look how Panthers jumped out. They went 3-0. I mean,
they went 3-0 and lost to the Cowboys and got beat down by the Giants, and Sam Darnold got benched.
Right. So, but now they got a better quarterback in Baker Mayfield, in my opinion. So they could win that game. Who knows? The Colts haven't won a game opener since 2016. So that day one, that's a big question mark for everyone. So I got them going 1-11. Like I think the Falcons is the only team they could beat. Like,
it's not out of the attention. But
I'm just not sold on Brissett. I'm just not. I do too because that means we're getting the top 5 pick.
I mean, that's a win for us. That's a win for us. Anyway.
Right. So moving on, yesterday news broke out that the Dolphins owner invited Sean Payton and Tom Brady. Was he a free agent at the time, or was he still with the Patriots?
Oh.
No, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady was free agent when they tried to get him at that time.
Okay, that's what I thought. But, well, they invited him to the yacht, and, of course, you can't do that. That's tampering. So they got your 2023, 2024, and the owner Stephen Ross is suspended indefinitely. Coach, I'll kick you off first. What do you think? Too much? Too little? Just right?
I mean, like I say again, anytime you get caught tampering, you're gonna get disciplined, man. Like I say, hate you have to give up all those first round picks just on one guy. But like I say, who ain't gonna try to cheat to get one of the best quarterbacks in football? Who's not gonna try to do that and try to cheat early to get him to come over there? So again, hey,
I'm after paying out for cheating, so it's all
yeah.
good.
Hey, you do your crime, you do your time. So hey,
Right.
they doing their time right now. So at the same time, you're gonna try to get a leg up if you want one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time that's ever played this game. I mean, that shows they don't have that much faith in Tua, and that shows Tua has to have a big year this year because if you don't get it done, he can be up out of the door because they already tried to get Deshaun Watson. They were gonna get Deshaun Watson. The deal was pretty much done. The Dolphins turned it down. Now they tried to get Tom Brady. Now in the draft, they thought about getting a quarterback, but now Tua. If he doesn't he's under fire this year. Tua's on the fire this year. If he doesn't get it done with this team, with Tyreek Hill and all those weapons that he got, he's going to be the next quarterback gone. They're going to be looking for a quarterback next year for sure.
B, what is your thoughts on it?
So I think that it wasn't that the reason why the penalty was so large, it wasn't just because of tampering. I think what happened was, when they read and said that in writing, that Flores had it in writing that he was being asked to lose games and that it would be paid $100,000, all that stuff. I think the NFL specifically said, "Oh, it was said in jest. He was joking." I don't think they could have actually admitted that Stephen Ross said draft picks are more important than the win and loss schedule, which is what he said. But what they're saying is it was taken in jest. No one meant that to mean that you're supposed to lose games. I think the reason why they hit him hard, though, was because he was trying to tank, and Flores didn't want to tank. So he didn't actually do it. But the fact is, Ross wanted him to, and that's why I feel why they took those draft.
Right, they can't really punish them for take. They could, but there's, like you said, there's no evidence, so that's why they just say it was tampering.
But that's why I think they took those first and third draft picks away.
Yeah.
But to talk about Tua a little bit now, here's the concerning thing. Now we all know what type of weapons that Miami just had. They've got Mostert, they've got Gesicki, they've got Tyreek Hill. I mean, the amount of offensive weapons is off the chart. And the thing is, last year they won 8 games with specifically their defense. I mean, Tua wasn't doing great. He was throwing 140, 150 yards some games. And the defense is what carried them. And they didn't lose a single piece of that defense. So their defense is strong. Yes, I know that Flores isn't there, but you still have other coaches there that were there before. So from the defensive side. So I still think their defense is going to be strong. Now, the question is, if Tua can't get into at minimum a wild card, because I don't think, they're not going to win the division. They're going to get a wild card. But the thing is, if they can't even get a wild card, and now they say, okay, we got to replace Tua, now they don't even have the draft picks to do it. So they can't trade up because you don't think they're going to go in the top 2 or 3. So they have to trade up to get a quarterback, and they don't have enough picks to do that. They gave up 5 picks with Tyreek Hill. They just lost 2 with this stuff. Now they're in a situation where they may have to fight to get a bet.
It's win or nothing at this point.
Yeah. Next year's quarterback class is very strong. This is what everybody was waiting on too. This quarterback class right here is very strong. So 2023 was that why ain't nobody think that this year nobody is jumping up this year to get a quarterback because this quarterback class is valued not so good this year. Then now next year, that's what everybody is waiting on to get. You're going to see a lot of teams probably jumping up and getting the quarterback next year.
Yeah, definitely. Before we move on, I'm going to talk to you, Chris, but I want to say something about this. To me, you still have Dan Snyder and Jerry Jones who use their power. You can throw Robert Kraft out there if you want. His wasn't as bad as Snyder and Jones, but they use their power to downgrade women, and still nothing. Back to the Sun, Calvin Ridley didn't even show up to a game and betted, and then he got a whole year. Deshaun Watson, sexually assaulted 30 women, got 6 games. So the way I'm taking it is betting and tampering is greater than sexual assault and woman's feelings. Crenshaw, what do you say? Do you agree, or am I just have my tinfoil hat on?
I mean, you're right because like his suspension should have been high from the jump. I understand they gave him 12 games and he said no, but it shouldn't have mattered. They shouldn't have gave him an offer. I don't understand why they got to give him an offer anyway. Hey, this is what we say. This is what goes. But I just hope it works out in everybody's favor. Like I said, I'm just really tired of talking about this guy.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Just get it over with. Stephen Ross, he got what's coming to him. Jerry Jones, I think they scared of Jerry Jones, so I don't think that's why they're not messing with him. It's kind of like the Raiders. What's the Raiders owner?
John Gruden or Al Davis?
Al Davis. Yeah, same with him. They were scared of him as well. So I think that's the reason why they're not messing with Jerry Jones. But
yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. It's sickening sometimes, man. I just don't get it. But moving on, really quick, the injury bug has hit. Has had hit the Broncos pretty hard. They lost Tim Patrick and their running back. They picked. I didn't know he played for the Texans. Y'all know that? He was on the practice squad.
I actually didn't know that he was a practice squad just until a couple days ago, or yesterday.
Yeah, I can't. His name slip in my mind, but yeah, he was on the practice squad 2019. Didn't really do nothing for us. So, but Dalvin Cook hurt his hand. They said it seemed pretty serious, but I haven't heard nothing since. The Buccaneers line, man, just got hurt worse. Their tackle that they drafted last year seemed like he's going to miss a couple games. It's just the injury bug. Fellas, I'll start with you, Crenshaw. What do you think about all the injuries so far?
Well, that's typical. People coming back from off season. Hamstrings. Look, Nick injuries here, Nick injuries there. So that's just typical injury bug. For Dalvin Cook's sake, for fantasy sake, I hope he gets back out there.
Me too.
But I mean, the Broncos, I think they'll still be okay. They still got KJ Hamler, they still got Judy, they still got Courtney Sutton, they still got that nice tight end. Oh no, they traded the tight end.
Yeah,
they got the other.
They traded.
They got the other tight end that was behind him as well. They got the run game, so they'll be okay. They'll be all right.
Coach, what about you? What's your thoughts?
Only thing that I agree with Crenshaw, but the only real legit thing that concerned me about the Broncos, Tim Patrick is very good, but Jerry Jeudy can't stay on the field either. Cortland Sutton had missed games too, so that whole receiving core has been injured. But the only thing that's going to keep them irrelevant is Russell Wilson. The tight end Noah Fant is gone, but you can make up for him. But that running game is very good. Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, those two had a total of 1,800 yards. That's 900 yards apiece and exactly 10 touchdowns apiece between those two. Dalvin Cook, I think Kirk Cousins and that offense is going to be very, very solid. They're going to continue to put points on the board. My main concern is about that secondary and that defense, the Tiller rating. And they did the right move by firing Mike Zimmer. I thought he should have been fired. I thought he just had too many opportunities to stay in Minnesota after he underachieved. And then again, the other, what was the other injury bug again? What was the other? Tampa Bay. I think Tom Brady's going to find a way to adjust on that offensive line for a couple of games. He always does. He always finds a way to adjust. So I don't think it's going to hurt them too much more. But it does concern me about Denver wide receiving core because they always nicked up and banged up. And Cortland Sutton just got paid, and he can't stay on the field. And Jerry Jeudy also has off the field issues as well.
Crazy thing is, Denver hasn't had a 1,000-yard receiver since what was it, Chris? 2017, 2018.
It was actually Cortland Sutton. Yeah.
So we'll see. B, what about you? What do you think about the injury bug before we move on?
So I will reiterate a few things that Coach said about Jerry Jeudy. He had some injury issues in the past. He also had some drops in the past, right? So he has both of those issues. So I will. Shout out to anyone who's looking at receivers. I still think Jeudy should be on your radar from a fantasy football standpoint. He's obviously going to get a ton of those targets. But there are going to be some issues. And, we play them second week. Are they going to have everything, their ducks in a row? Now they have an injury and now have to figure this out. I don't know. We could have a shot there. But just talking about injuries in general, So I brought up earlier when we were speaking, Poyer's out. Poyer's out. He's probably going to have a couple weeks out as well. That's a big issue for Buffalo. In our sense, we heard so Claire got hurt, and he's going to be out for much of the season. So the good news there is Seth Green has been taking over, and it looks like we may not miss him. In terms of production at all. So for us, that's all right. I think now Broncos have been hurt the worst.
And of course we lost John Metsy to leukemia, but I mean that's
Yeah, I didn't want to bring that up as an injury, but yeah.
Right. All right, well guys, before we jump on the training camp, man, one thing you don't talk about, Fight Club, and I tell you, it seemed like, man, every time I Josh Allen is thrown down, the 49ers team thrown down, Michael Pittman and McLeod, they said that it was haymakers. Like they said, it was prize fight worthy punches. So everybody's probably played on team sport. Tempers get heated, things happen. B, I'll start with you. What do you think about all these fights happening so far?
I don't think it's an issue at all. This is just common during training camp. It's really not a big deal. Frankly, sometimes you kind of want to have that passion get out there a little bit. I mean, this is football. This is a man's game. It's not really a big deal. The only time where it gets a problem is when there's no end to it, where now it bleeds into the locker room and it bleeds into the next day. And from everything I'm reading, that's not happening here. So scuffles are going to happen. Testosterone's out there. Pads are out. You're hitting dudes. Stuff is going to happen. So I really don't put a lot of stock into any of that at all.
Chris, you like a good fight.
Well, I agree with V and the Josh Allen fight. I understand that one because the player hit him. Right. You don't hit the quarterback.
Especially your throwing arm. That throwing arm worth millions and millions of dollars. Like, boy, don't touch me. So,
you don't do that right there. Yeah. Who was the player that had a fight and got kicked out? Who was that player?
The tackle from the New Orleans.
Was it the Saints? It was the Saints, right? Saints.
New Orleans. The rookie tackle got in 3 fights in 3 days. So they send him home indefinitely.
Maybe he's sick of all the rookie hazing or something because he's tripping.
Yeah, beyond tripping. Coach, I mean, you probably broke up some fights on the field, while you're coaching. What's your opinion on it?
I don't like how V said. I don't think it's a big deal, man. You're gonna have fights in training camp. That's a competitive spirit, man. That's just being out of competitiveness. But one thing you don't hit the quarterback in practice. And Josh Allen is the golden boy of the Buffalo Bills, so you don't want to go that route. So you get yourself in some trouble and get him hit and get him hurt. Then you'll be thinking differently about the Buffalo Bills. Now you ain't got no Mitchell Trubisky no more that can come in and probably back him up. It's better than have to deal with Nathan Peterman out there. So at the end of the day, you don't want to hurt. You don't want to get into it and get yourself in a position where you got to take down your starting quarterback. But I don't think too much of those.
And get cut for taking out your starting quarterback. Like, you
don't want to have those fights. You don't want. And I don't think it's too big deal of it, man. Just competition wise, everybody competing against each other, trying to make this squad, trying to see what they can do, trying to earn their right up on the NFL roster or in their right. If they don't enter right on that respective NFL roster, maybe they can get a job somewhere else. So it's just more competition thing and just frustration boil over from time to time again when you're not playing well and when you're getting outclassed. It just happens. Fights are going to happen in training camp.
Right. And we're going to see more when preseason starts Thursday. Jaguars and Raiders. I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to see the Jaguars play, but, it's football. But, there's going to be joint camp, so, there's going to be even more tipping, flaring. DeAndre Hopkins broke D'Angelo Hall's ankles, and that was, I thought that was the greatest, training camp story ever. But, yeah, it's going to happen. So, but that being said, guys, it's that time. Texans training camp. I did take some notes. Y'all super proud of me. I looked around, and this is kind of the let me take this banner off. This is kind of everything I took of the positives of Texans training camp. Mills greatly exceeding expectations, especially in the red zone. Drives are being extended by using the check downs. I can never say his last name correctly, so I'm just going to call him P. P and Stingley have been a problem for a lot of receivers. the word has been thrown around is lockdown. Receivers Collins and Cooks have been the hardest workers of training camp. Some of the new arrivals kind of give hope after losing Mechie. Coach, you're my guest. Well, I'll start with you. What is your positive takeaway from the training camp?
My positive takeaway from training camp right now is, I say it's easy to go with Davis Mills because, again, he's just throwing the ball all over the place, man. He's being that vocal leader. He's stepping up more and speaking out more than he spoke out last year with a full year up under his belt. So I expected him to come in training camp and be ready. And plus, the biggest thing, he don't have a turnover yet. He don't have a turnover at this point of time. So the easiest nitpick is Davis Mills, but I'm gonna go into a dark horse route right here. Steven Nelson and Brandon Cook's battle has been very, very solid. And Steven Nelson, his press coverage skills has been good throughout the whole training camp, man. This guy's been balling, man. So I like Steven Nelson, man. And that battle between Steven Nelson and Brandon Cooks is really, really getting excited. But the easiest route to go to me, man, what's really impressing me is Davis Mills. But I'm going to go with Steven Nelson, man. His press coverage skills is very good. And he's breaking up pass completions and stuff. Like I said, I've been very impressed with Steven Nelson. I think we got a very underrated secondary, man, and we got some good veteran leaders at secondary. And Darius Stingley, we expected him to be whatever came out of college. That's what we expected him, and that's what he's been doing at training camp. But I'm gonna go with Steven Nelson route as a golf course.
All right, B, I'm gonna shoot to you. What's caught your eyes of the positives?
So there's two things I would say, and my second answer might be a little weird. So the first thing I'm going to say is that Dameon Pierce looks like he's going to be a beast. He has some negatives with him, which we all knew prior to the draft. But one of the things that I do love about him is his aggressiveness and his ability to just go forward. So on those times when we're 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, I feel confident that we can put it out there and get that first down. That's not something I ever had with any of us, including Rex Burkhead, anyone last year. So that's something I really think that Pierce is going to do, not to mention what I think he's going to do for us in the goal line. If we remember last year at the Gators, he only had 100 carries, but on 100 carries, he had 13 touchdowns. So incredibly productive. Not to mention that he also, in addition to his rushing yards, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but I believe it was something right around 600.
638.
There you go. So it was 600 yards rushing, but he had another almost 300 or so yards receiving, with another 3 touchdowns in receiving. So the thing is, the dude can obviously run, but then he can also catch, which is incredibly important.
He probably has the best hands coming out of this running back class, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but.
So that's what I consider to be the normal answer. Now, the second answer is going to be a little more fluffy. And I'm going to say it's the front office, and I'll tell you why. Because when we had the unfortunate thing happen with John Mechie, who as you mentioned, had leukemia or has leukemia and is now fighting it, the front office could have made a decision and said, well, let's see who's going to step up, and let's just keep the current roster and what's going. But what they did is, they tried him out. Let's see if Dorsett can get this thing done. Let's see Connolly or whatever or more. But no, they went and got Chester Rogers. And the reason why I think that's important is because the front office said, we have a gaping hole at the slot. We have to fix it. We can't simply say that the guys on our roster can do it. We need to get better competition. And we got better competition. Now, I would like to hear what your thoughts are on Chester Rogers, but in my opinion, the dude's fast. He's never been given a solid chance. He has made his way around the AFC South. I made the joke yesterday on Twitter that next year he'll probably be on the Jags and then he'll complete his full circle. But the thing is, the dude's fast. He can play slot well, and he'll be a threat to Mills. But I have to call up to the front office and say thanks for actually doing that, because that's something I don't think that Bill O'Brien would have done that quickly. He would have waited too late and then tried to make a change and pay too much.
Right, and traded away our first round pick doing so. Crenshaw, brother, speak to me. What's your positives?
The positive, I got to go with Wallow, linebacker. He's been playing really, really well. And then I like the wide receiver, Jalen Camp, man. You know, he had little flashes last year, and this year he's playing pretty well and everything. And like V said, I like the Chester Rogers as well because he's really really fast. I mean, the guy he could do punt return as well. He's good at that as well. So overall, it's a way better the camp than we had last year. So I think it's really really competitive. Like, you know, we lose a player, it's not a bummer because we got so much depth now. We usually don't have that much depth. Usually the next player we have is like, who is this guy? And now we actually have guys behind that guy that we actually know. Like, wow, okay. So overall, yeah, I got to go with Wallow and Camp.
Before we go to the negatives, I would have to say Jordan and Brown have impressed me tremendously, especially Pharaoh Brown. They said this guy is looking like a top 10 tight end, especially in the end zone. I think Mills went 7 and 11, 4 touchdowns in the red zone. 2 of them were to Pharaoh Brown. So, I mean, whatever can help us score, I'm okay with it. And,
but you know, Brown's good at that. It's just the blocking. That's the part about him, the penalties and everything.
That's his biggest issue.
I agree with that. But it seems to me that I can't think of his name. Pep is going to run a dual set tight end. But the only thing that scares me is both of them, Jordan and Brown, are not blocking tight ends. So that worries a little bit. But it also helps Davis out a lot because both of them are great receivers. So
quick throws.
Right. But another thing I'm impressed with is I talked about in the positives. I can't ever say his name correctly, but the Baylor safety, Petrie. There you go.
Petrie.
We have ranked 32 run defense. I think this guy turns it around tremendously. I think we top 20. Dude has just been. And they said that one of his weaknesses was kind of coverage. But they've been talking coverage this whole training camp. They said his coverage has been phenomenal. So I'm excited to see what he can do when it comes down game time. So now that we do got the positives out of the way, here's the negatives. I mentioned it as a positive. You know, Mills was extending the drive time with the check down option, but it seemed like he's using a little too much. We kind of talked about it when Metsu went down, the lack of height from receiver position. Everybody kind of noticed it. Wasn't really impressed with the other receivers, so they went and got Rodgers. Zone covers have been breaking down way too quickly and letting big plays happen. We noticed that too last year with Reed and Lonnie Johnson, so that not very good. And then one of our big additions this year, Mac. He's been described as heavy-footed, but, of course, Pierce and Burkhead have been a great positive. So I'll start with you, Crenshaw. What's your biggest negative?
I guess the biggest negative for me is what's going on with the kicker. Have anybody heard anything about him all training camp?
I haven't heard.
That's my negative right there because I'm like, what's going – because last year he was really, really shaky last year. So what's going on? I mean, you got some competition for him. We're gonna run it back with him. Like, what's going on with that guy?
Right.
So yeah, that's my negative kicker because you know the way our offense set up, we might kick a lot of field goals. So we're gonna need that leg.
People can say what they want, but special teams is a huge part of the game.
Yeah.
And if we don't have it, then it's not gonna be good. Coach Dante, I'll sit to you. What's your negatives of?
Well, I got 2 negatives. One that's concerning is Nico Collins. Him being able to not get open, get separation, tripping over his feet, coming out of routes. DB sitting on his routes, able to jump in front of him. He's 6'5". Sometimes he's going to win some of these battles, but most of the battles he may win is jump ball battles because he's 6'5". He's got a big frame. He's not very good at press coverage. He doesn't get off the line very good. He doesn't get a lot of separation. So most of his catches last year came off either quick slants. And most of the time last year when the ball was thrown to him, feel like he didn't compete enough. He didn't compete enough for that 6'5" frame to go up there and make an effort to catch some of those passes. So I've been really kind of disappointed in a little bit of Nico Collins. But again, you still got a whole training camp, but he has not really rose my expectations up as probably being that number one that I thought he could be. Granted, I'm not giving up on him yet, but again, you got to be, if you don't know how to get open, if you can't separate, at least know how to run routes. DeAndre Hopkins didn't get a lot of separation, but he knew how to run routes and he had good footwork and he knew how to beat press coverage. Nico Collins just don't know how to beat press coverage. As big as he is and strong as he is, he doesn't know how to beat press coverage and he doesn't compete on balls in the air that much. He's got to get a little better than that. And another negative is I know this mean a lot too because the next man up in case your quarterback get hurt. Kyle Allen had an atrocious day today. Oh my goodness! I mean, overthrowing wide receivers and
Jeff Driscoll, it wasn't any better either.
Absolutely god awful. And you need some positive out of your backup quarterback as well, just in case something strictly goes wrong with Davis Mills. But this was a horrific day, the worst day that we had out of a quarterback in Kyle Allen. That has to be better. So again, those are my two negatives right there.
B, what's yours?
So I'm going to agree with you on Nico Collins, but since you already brought that up, I have to bring up something else, which has been an issue since last year, and that's Justin Britt. Justin Britt doesn't seem like I'm not seeing the improvements that I expected to see from changing out from Perkins to our new scheme. I really thought, okay, now we have defined assignments. We should not have missed coverages and stuff like this, and this is still what's happening. I think it's a physical thing because I don't think it's an IQ thing. I think physically he's not able to do it. So the question there is, what do you do? Because frankly, he's the weakest point in our O-line. And so now so here's the thing, Justin Britt also has responsibilities that he's going to determine protection. So you take that away from Davis Mills, so Davis Mills doesn't have to think about it as much. You give a little bit of that to Justin Britt, which I get. But if he can't do it physically, I don't know if he should be there. And I think that what we're going to find out is that the breakdown in our O-line is going to come from Justin Britt. And if we're now putting on the physical side and then we're telling him he's going to, determine protection, stuff like this as well, then now it's almost hard to remove him because he's your IQ guy too. So I think they have to make a decision on what they're going to do there because he's the weak link. And I don't want him to be the weak link because obviously the center is important, but you're going to affect Davis Mills' evaluation. You're going to affect the receiver evaluation. You're going to affect Kenyon Green trying to open up lanes to get the run game going. Now you're going to affect Damian Pierce and Marlon Mack. I mean, the amount of – because I look at this year as evaluation year of looking at our rookies, specifically Davis Mills and so forth. And if we're unable to evaluate them because of something that Britt is consistently doing, it's a problem. So right now, to me, that is one of our biggest issues.
Okay. To me, I have to say the linebacker in the inside. They said a lot of the red zone touchdown passes was linebacker coverage. So that I'm hoping that changes, but that's a little concerning. But that zone coverage is hard for any linebacker. You have to be a great like Brian Urlacher. I mean he's the one who made that zone coverage. So hopefully it changes up when preseason starts, but who knows? Well, guys, we're about to end. Coach, me, Crenshaw, you'll learn down the road. We like this thing we do with our guests. It's called the hot take. Me, Crenshaw, and B, of course, we're going to do one when the season starts. But since you're not going to be with us, sadly, what's your hot take for the Texans this year? It could be Davis Mills wins MVP, Lovie Smith, Coach of the Year. We go 17-0, which will never happen. But it'd be anything. So tell me, what is your hot take for the Texans this season?
Well, my hot take this year, we're going to be competing for a wild card spot. We're going to be 8. We're going to be 9-8 this year. It feels like a different team this year with Lovie Smith. Now, last year we had to deal with a lot of turmoil going into training camp, the Deshaun Watson situation when everybody was in training camp and him not speaking to nobody, him just out there and the team not being okay with that. and you can see everybody getting on a press conference. Every time you hear Deshaun Watson question, you hear guys like Thomas saying, I don't want to hear about that again. Just a lot of turmoil in training camp that you didn't want to be around this year. And David Culley was clearly a bridge coach at this point. Didn't know how to handle players in the locker room whatsoever. Him and Justin Reed got into plenty altercations to the point where Justin Reed ended up getting suspended. And he clearly just wasn't ready, wasn't a head coach. He's clearly, like I say, a special team on wide receiver. He's a position coach, but not a head coach. He's clearly not a head coach. He bumped many heads with players. He just didn't know how to handle a locker room. That's just what it came down to. And a lot of players did not was not okay with that. But it sounds different from Lovie Smith. The defense, I think, is going to get a little better. And Lovie Smith is a good thing to see. Lovie Smith and Nick Caserio gets on the same page together in the draft. Nick Caserio, and Lovie Smith, they had a chance to pick their own players that fit their system, and I'm just very happy. So the hot take for me, I think the Texans go 9-8 as the hot take and have a chance. Not saying they're going to get the wild card spot, but at least compete for it, and that's going to bring more flashes to this team. And Davis Mills is going to have a big season. I think he's going to have a step-up season. After this year, I think you expect for Davis Mills to be the franchise quarterback of the Houston Texans.
I'll die on this hill. I don't think our roster is that bad. I think we don't have the culture, and I think Lovie Smith is here to change that. Yes, we do need a lot of positions, but I don't think I think we're better than 6 other teams in the NFL. So I can see that. 10 days before our first preseason game against the Saints. So I'm going to throw this one out to Crenshaw and V. Crenshaw, you first. What's the hot take of the Saints game? I mean, it's not going to be no stars really, maybe a drive or two, but what do you think?
The hot take, the running back there, I can't pronounce his last name. It's going to give us 8. Huh?
Kamara?
No, Dare. His name's Dare, right? The running back.
Okay, yeah. All right. I think you meant their running back as the Saints.
No. I was running back. Okay. Dare, whatever his last name. I could see him getting 80 yards and a touchdown. That's my hot take.
Oh, okay.
Because I've been hearing good things about him as well.
All right, B, what about you?
So I'll give my hot take on the year before I talk about the Saints game, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. We're going to do that one before the season starts, but go ahead. Well, maybe I'll change it.
I think Davis Mills is going to be a top 15 quarterback this year. That's my hot take. I know that, in my opinion, seeing him go from 31, he was rated 31, to see him to go to 20 would be a significant improvement. However, I think that he could even do better than that. I do think Casero's not going to stop building around him. I just mentioned what he did, to get Chester Rogers. I don't think we're over. I think we're going to continue to still build some pieces around him. And I think what he's shown the last 5 games of last season, the fact is his work ethic is absolutely insane. I mean, he stayed at NRG until 8, 9 p.m. He's watching film. He doesn't have a Kyler Murray issue. He's watching film by himself all the time. The guy just has great anticipation, great pocket presence, great work ethic. I have to see him succeed. And I think he will. I think he's going to do better than what a lot of people think that he's going to do. If it's a Saints game, what I'm going to say is that I don't think he's going to play too much in the Saints game, Davis Mills, but I do think we're going to see a good 50 or 60 yarder from him. I think he's going to showcase and say, look what I can do. If it's a natural stage, I'm going to do this before I have to sit on the bench.
Before I'll ask you Saints game too, Coach, but I'm going to say Chris Moore goes off and he gets over 100 yards in the preseason game.
I like Chris Moore.
I do too. Coach, what's your hot take on the Saints game?
All right, I'm going to go with Dameon Pierce has at least a 20-yard run in this game. Dameon Pierce is going to have a break for a 20-yard run in this game. Like I said, I really like Dameon Pierce. I thought he was at least the 3rd best running back coming out of the draft. No, not more than probably the 2nd if you ask me. But you got Kenneth Walker, you had Breece Hall. But I think Dameon Pierce was the 3rd best running back to come out of this draft class. I really like him, man. Like V said, he didn't get a lot of opportunities, 100 opportunities, but he made the most of them. Every time he got the ball, he ran there with aggressiveness. He caught it out of the backfield. He just made most of those opportunities. And he's gonna be a very good player this year on some of those 3rd and short runs. Them legs never stop moving. So again, I think he's gonna have a 20-yard run in the Saints game. He's going to break for at least a 20-yard run.
All right. I like it.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, I
guys,
like it.
Thursday, tomorrow, football. Football is amongst us, right? I'm excited. I love baseball. I love my Astros, but man, sometimes it's like, all right, I want somebody to hit somebody. Like, let's speed this up. 10 days until game day for the Texans. So again, football season amongst us. Can't wait to have this with you guys. So before we leave, Coach, tell us where we can find you on social media and where we can check out your podcast and whatnot.
Y'all can find me at Coach Dante31 on Twitter, Coach Dante31 on Instagram. Y'all can find me at Coach Dante on YouTube. And like I say, man, it's good to be up here with Talk Texans football. I don't know many Texans fan. I know I'll be in the space sometime with V talking Texans football, but it's an honor, man. Like I say, and I got a spot. I got a sports network. My boy Jake was up here last week. He's a part of the network, and I'm an executive of the sports network as well. So, man, it's an honor for me to be up here, man. Hope we can do it again soon, man, during the season or during preseason again, man. I just like to thank y'all for having me on.
Almost definitely.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Yeah. You and Jake both made great episodes. We appreciate it. B, being our new team member, tell us, bro, where we can find you on social media.
Well, you could just go to Brown Chubby Bear. I either host or co-host spaces quite a bit. We talk a lot about Texans. So it's not just my tweets, but jump on a space. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Even if it's a hot take, we'll let you have it.
And you can also check him out on the Texans Fan Battle podcast website. He writes some great blogs. So if you would like to hear some good or read some good stuff, make sure you check that out. When the season starts, we're going to start dropping more of them as well. So, Crenshaw, where can these Texans haters find you?
They can find me at Fifth Ward Crenshaw everywhere.
And, of course, you can find me at A1 Day One Texans and the podcast at Texans Fan Battle everywhere, every major streaming platform. So this episode will air tomorrow. So if you want to get pumped for the Jaguars and Raiders game, which is going to be hard because it's the Jaguars and Raiders, turn us on and listen to it. It's going to be a great episode. Until then, guys, enjoy football. It is amongst us. And y'all have a very great day and a blessed week.
Peace.
Later.